All right, so this Marjorie Taylor Greene, Tucker Carlson video was posted a couple days ago, I believe. And as I was watching it, as a communist, I couldn't help but think things are looking up on our side of the aisle. And it occurred to me, in a Neil Howe sort of fourth turning period, it feels like the boomers are going this way and the millennials are going this way. And the two groups really seem to just have outside of individual boomers, your parents, but as a group, man, there is some serious animosity between the two. And I thought it was really kind of exemplified in this video. So I wrote down some various timestamps that I thought were relevant. It really comes down to, I realized this switch between, there's an overwhelming boomer support for Israel. There has been my whole life growing up in an evangelical Christian Zionist Baptist church. I didn't even know what the word Zionism meant. But looking back, I realized it was some serious Schofield Bible, I don't even know the names of it. Jay Dyer will nail it, but it's pre-dispensationalist something or other. It pretty much boils down to we have to start war in the Middle East for Jesus to come back. And to do that, we have to support the Jews no matter what. And this is one of those topics where I do this show with my dad a lot. Dad watches everything I do. Dad, I love you, but I just got to get my ideas out on this one. And maybe we can circle back, as that horrible person that worked for Joe Biden said, and see what we think about it. But this is the one issue where that's why I feel like it's a turning point between boomers and millennials, especially with Zohran or whatever his name is winning in New York City. The boomer hatred for communism and the boomer love for Israel. This appears to be the fourth turning line, because the millennials disdain for what Israel is doing in Gaza and Palestine, and their rising acceptance for socialism and communism appears to be the thing that will break the two generations apart. And it seems to just kind of be a matter of time, honestly. So I put down a few timestamps in this video. Let's start and go through each one. All right. So here's the first one that stuck out to me.
Well, it's just kind of weird because Fox News tells us that the real threats are abroad, or they're Iranian sleeper cells in the United States. It seems to me the real threat to the United States is the collapse of its cities, of its population centers, where the most people live. I don't live in a city, don't want to live in a city because they suck.
Yeah.
But in a normal country, I would live in a city, and so would you.
Sure.
Of course. So I don't understand how we spent the last 25 years fighting all these wars, obsessively focused on our enemies abroad, jihadis, or whatever. They're telling us the threat is white supremacists under Biden. And the country has not gotten better.
No.
It's like maintaining the empire has destroyed the republic. It does feel that way.
Oh, 100%. But we have to look at what the struggle we're dealing with. So I think it's very interesting to look at the pattern in place. So 2016, America rose up, and I was one of those little people.
Okay, so I think I needed to go a little bit before this commercial. Let's go to like maybe 9 and try that. It's right in the middle of this socialist mayor talk.
And
right.
Democrat,
A
right?
machine politician.
Right,
yeah.
right. That really never solved anyone's problems. They already had him, and they still have the same problems.
Right.
They're still poor.
I'm going to play it from the very beginning. I may go back and edit this later, but at least for me, when it comes to like editing every clip and getting it just right, and I just won't end up streaming. So I listened to the whole thing and kind of took screenshots of like, oh, that was interesting. I want to talk about that. So we'll go from there. This was one that stuck out to me.
It's interesting. You said a second ago that when people are really frustrated, when the system they live under fails them, they listen to voices that they shouldn't listen to or wouldn't listen to under any other circumstance. Like, how did Al Sharpton get to be the leader of Black America or whatever? I mean, it's like it's a thing. Desperate people tend to go to crappy leaders, I think. And I just can't get over what happened in our biggest city this week, the very same week that everybody in DC is focused thousands of miles away on the greatest threat we face, Iran's nuclear program. I don't want Iran to have the bomb. I'm not pro-Iran,
no,
obviously.
We're not pro-Iran.
Yeah.
Like, why do we have to say it?
No,
But
right.
we do.
It's
Yeah,
dumb.
here's the
But
disclaimer.
at the same time that everybody was looking to Iran, our largest city had a Democratic primary, effectively the mayor's race, and like 32-year-old socialist who wants government-run grocery stores gets elected. He's going to likely run our biggest city.
Yeah. And
in the country.
Right. New York.
And it's like, why did that happen? Is it because people are so like desperate for government-run grocery stores, or love socialism, or love like foreign-born midwits running their cities? Probably not.
It's because capitalism is failing, Tucker. Like, you know, I think Tucker's one of the best journalists working today, but the conservatives just have such a blind spot for this issue. Like, a government-run grocery store is just the worst thing ever. Why? When there's people starving in the street? Why is that bad? Well, you want to do it privately? The private guy, he's threatening to leave the city. Like, they don't care about feeding people. It's about making money.
That guy was the only person in the New York City mayor's debate to say he wanted to focus on New York City. All the candidates were asked, if you could visit a foreign country, what would it be? And they, of course, all had an answer. I think most said Israel. Great. And he said, I wouldn't go anywhere. I'd stay in New York. And like, if I want to meet Jewish constituents, I'd go to their synagogues, their homes, or whatever. But I'd be here in New York because that's what I'm doing. I'm running New York. That's my job.
Well, he gave the right answer.
He gave the right answer. He
Yeah.
gave the right answer, at least. And he's talking. I totally oppose his program.
Absolutely.
What? They don't ever say what they oppose exactly. They just oppose that he's a socialist, whatever that means. Let's speed this up a little bit.
I don't think it works. But he's talking about economics.
Yep.
And everyone else is talking about foreign policy. Why is it hard to talk about economics, domestic economics?
I don't know. Apparently, they don't know how to fix it. Well, look who he was running against. He's looking, I mean, the failed.
So that's the thing. Why don't they talk about economics? They don't want to talk about socialism, but they want to talk about economics? Like, who has the most fully developed critique of capitalist economics? I don't understand this blind spot. I mean, this is appears to be sort of a Gen X. These guys are both Gen X. It's sort of a Gen X. Like, millennials are open to it. What is it? Hey, Louisa, I do remember you. Thank you for checking out my stream. I still have the little hammer and sickle you drew me. I put you on blast on the internet. I hope that's okay. Comrade's got to be out about it, right? Thank you. My phone's going in and out, but I appreciate you being here. I miss you being in my class. But yeah, it's interesting. They want to focus on economics, but they don't want to talk about socialism. This is so distinctly American to me.
Mayor Andrew Cuomo, look at him. He
Governor, yeah.
Governor, yeah. Discussing sexual, all types of accusations.
Yep.
So he was seen as the dirty establishment Democrat,
a
right?
machine politician.
Right,
yeah.
right. That really never solved anyone's problems. They already had him, and they still have the same problems.
Right.
They're still poor. They can't afford life. They can't afford to move up in the world.
Exactly.
And so they looked at Andrew Cuomo and was like, why am I going to vote for him? He's not going to make my life better.
No, it's
and so
totally
they look at this man who's been in our country for what, 6 years?
Yeah.
6 years. So he's foreign born. He's a socialist, and he's promising to empty the prisons and do all kinds of crazy things. And he's talking to them on their level and talking about the problems they are facing, relating to them with the problems they're facing. So these young people have no choice but to turn to this.
I agree.
And it is a failure. It is literally a failure of.
This is what's so interesting to me. is they'll constantly say that socialist politics are a failure. This guy's a failure because he's a socialist. He's a socialist, so he's a failure. Oh my God, it's a failure. These are horrible ideas, but we need to focus on economics and fix the economics. What ideas do you have to fix economics? I've listened to this whole thing. I actually appreciate both these people. I appreciate that they're critiquing Israel. They're some of the best people we've got in politics today. And they still, just because they won't, I mean, the most fully fleshed critique of capitalist economics ever, they're like, that's horrible. That's a bad idea. Okay. The millennials don't feel that way. This is the divide.
Of the Republican Party. I think the Republican Party has completely failed. And it makes me so angry, Tucker. And I can't, I'm not supposed to speak out, right? I'm not supposed to have my own opinion. I'm supposed to just have blind allegiance to my party, and I'm supposed to cheerlead and rah, rah, rah. But that's not why I ran. That's not why I ran for Congress in the first place. I literally ran because I was mad at Republicans.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still mad at Republicans because it is affecting our children's lives and future. And it's our job to hold our elected leaders accountable. It's my job to hold my colleagues accountable. And if we don't fix these problems to the point where young people are turning to crazy socialists, it's going to get worse. It's literally going to get worse, and it'll be gone. I don't think we could ever get it back.
So you walk into my garage, my actual garage, one of the first things you see is...
So that's the first one that stuck out to me. There's another part in here. Let me go to it. Probably be around 112. It popped up. Let's see what they're talking about at this point.
Whatever. I'm glad. I don't want them to have a bomb. So.
No, we don't want them to have a bomb.
But why now? So Steve Witkoff, wonderful man, was on his way to Amman on last Sunday, and on Friday, the bombing started. Israel started bombing. They didn't ask. They just announced that they were doing it, and they did it, and derailed the talks, of course. But why the urgency? And someone said to me the other day, it has to do with the polling on this question. And the only people who support this kind of lunacy are in Mark Levin's age demographic. Like, it's older people, young
Our
people.
parents' generation, the baby boomers.
I hate to say that. Everyone beats up on the boomers, but it's well-deserved, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
Really selfish generation in general. But do you sense that, like, anyone under 40 is for this stuff?
Oh my gosh, no.
No.
Baby boomers primarily get their news from television.
Yes.
The Republican baby boomers watch Fox News. The Democrat baby boomers, they watch CNN.
Yes.
Or MSNBC or whatever. That's where they get their news, and that's where they receive all the propaganda fed into their head.
Yes.
About what they should think, what they should believe, who they should support, how they should vote, when they should protest, who they need to be mad at. It's all there on television for them. But so I'm 51 years old. I'm Generation X.
Right.
So then after that, there's the millennials, and then there's Gen Z. That's our kids. Everybody from my age down is like, enough of this crap. Everybody my age down is sick of it. They're fed up, but they don't watch TV. They don't have the TV on the living room 24 hours a day and fall asleep to it while they're.
So you don't know any 28-year-olds who are like, yeah, Ron's nuclear program is the biggest threat we face, and we need to affect regime change if necessary.
Absolutely not. No, 28-year-olds are pissed, and they're lost.
Yeah. And
they're defeated, and they don't know who to turn to fix these problems.
Yeah.
And they're facing problems we never faced. And so, no, the 28-year-olds are like, oh, great. Now I've got to worry about this too. Like, what does that mean? Am I going to be drafted? Like, what does that mean? They don't want to have anything to do with it.
No, it's totally true.
It's insane. And so think about it.
So this is the thing. This is what I would say. These two people on the screen hold an incredible amount of power in our society right now. Right now, they have an incredible amount of power. Tucker Carlson has one of the biggest podcasts in the world, 4 million subs. Marjorie Taylor Greene, you are in office. You're in office. Like, I know you guys aren't the normie, whatever. You're a little bit different, but you guys are in power. And you're like, oh, man, the 28-year-olds are screwed. Man, economically, they don't stand a chance. They can't buy a home. They're drowning in debt. And they're turning to crazy things like socialism. Crazy things like socialism. Like the thing with 200, 300 years of academic thought about how to right the wrongs of a failing capitalist system. Like, what do you want us to turn to? I don't understand. What idea do you have? I don't. You would at least can see the problem, Gen X. But you're like, it can't be socialism. I don't know. I've been propagandized about that my whole life. I remember being 18, skateboarding as a latchkey kid, drinking out of the water hose when the Soviet Union fell. That can't be a good thing. Stalin in high school or something. I don't know. The boomers don't even admit. The boomers are like, I bought my house for $15,000. Why don't you save up? Just get another job. They don't even see. I love Israel and I hate communism. And My home's worth 20 times what it was when I paid for it. So I don't know what you millennials are complaining about. You're teaching, you're working at Walmart, you're driving DoorDash, you're doing YouTube, you're selling your plasma. Maybe you just shouldn't drink another latte, says Dave Ramsey. Or maybe we should seize political power. Maybe that's what we should do. What are you saying here, Louisa? Let's see. Americans' thoughts on right and left wings is so different from the rest of the world. I've read that Joe Biden is a socialist when he's not even left wing. They don't even know what real communism is. No, Louisa, they have no clue. None. To them, Joe Biden is Kamala Harris. This guy, and I just read some Soviet guy that traveled to America in the 1930s. And he was like, he went to this American South. And in the American South, which, you know, we're on the Mason-Dixon line. We're got a lot of Southern thinking where you were an exchange student. But he was talking about to the American Southern mind, New York is as left wing as you can possibly get. And then he was like, I went to New York in the 1930s. And the only time I saw a black person in a ritzy restaurant was if they were a server. You know, and I'm not big on like making it about race. I don't think that's a good way to unify the class struggle. But he's worth noting there's something going on there. You know, if that's the most left-wing place of the 1930s, how is it today? Now they champion race. I don't know if people know this, but when racism exploded in Google search history, was right around Occupy Wall Street, right after the 2008 housing collapse. Because they want people in America fighting amongst themselves. Red states versus blue states. I saw Bill Burr say this. Black versus white, men versus women. When really it should be rich versus poor. There should be, I heard Matt Taibbi say this once, there should be two political parties in America. One party for those that make less than $1 million a year, and those for people that make more. I'm not very happy with Matt and Walter about their lack of talk about Gaza, but we'll get back to that in a second. Let's let this roll a little bit more. I think I'm done with this part, but I just want to see.
But like this, Tucker, in the next 10 years, or maybe a little bit longer, our parents' generation is going to pass away.
Yes.
And by the time that entire generation has moved on, and the bulk of it, sadly, has passed, because that's my mom and was my dad. And when they're gone, and that mentality and those, you know, decisions made in Washington based on all of this neocon and fighting for foreign countries and fighting the foreign causes and sending the foreign aid and all of this foreign garbage, once they're gone, we're going to be decimated and desolate, because we will have never poured back into our own country.
Yes.
And then we're going to have our generation of kids who at that time are going to be like in their 30s. And it's going to be really hard for them.
No, I totally agree.
And so that.
Hey, I'm there. I'm 37. I work 4 jobs. I have $1,500. I do not own my own home. My car broke down. Well, there goes my $1,500. Boy, and then the boomers will blame me for going to college, which Tim Dillon talked about in his most recent episode. I'm not going to have the clip for that, but he was talking about people voting for Zohran or whatever his name is in New York. Like, the millennials were told when we were kids, we were told by our boomer teachers that if we wanted to be a success, we needed to go to college. Go to college. Go to college. You'll be a success. Go to college. So then we go to college, we get out of college, and then people on the internet blame us for being stupid enough to go to college. Well, no wonder you're in debt. You went to college, dummy. Shouldn't have went to college. Should have become a plumber. Okay. Here's the thing I don't think the people saying that realize, and they're going to realize it. They're going to realize it politically, because it's going to happen. When you have the most educated people in your country, usually also the most politically engaged, and they're economically hopeless, they're going to vote for socialism. So how is capitalism going to provide us with economic opportunity when it's shipped all the labor overseas? They're going to bring it back. Trump, you're going to bring it all back. I don't believe it for a second. The motivation of capitalism is profit. It is profit above all. Profit above all. Socialism is when profits aren't in command. You organize your economy for the majority, not for profit. And I really don't think manufacturing will come back to America in any meaningful sense until you have a revolution. Because profits are in command in this country. All right, let's go to the next one, see if we can find it. I'll play this just a couple more
That
seconds.
generation will be gone, and Mark Levin won't get to put his opinion on anybody, and it won't matter anymore. And
Okay, let's go to the next one because I still got quite a few clips I want to do. Let's see what this one was. Somewhere right in here.
cartels.
Is that really what they're saying?
Yes, they're saying Democrats in disarray
Like inside
in our meetings. Yeah,
Whoa.
Democrats are in disarray. All they're going to lose. We're going to win the midterms. You know.
They're really saying that?
Yes.
Kind of congratulating themselves?
Yeah. Like as if it's like we just won the election in November. So it's still that same kind of vibe because Democrats are so lost right now. They don't even know who they are. You know, it's that nonstop conversation because they're seeing them go out and fight ICE, and they're seeing them do these no king protests, and they're seeing them wave foreign countries' flags and things like that. And they're saying Democrats are in disarray when I don't see it that way.
No, I agree with you completely.
And the Republicans cannot win elections if they don't understand what the enemy is doing and how they're rebuilding and the direction that they're going in.
And they're harnessing rage, real rage. I don't think it's aimed necessarily at Trump, but there's real rage about the decay in the country.
Yes.
That's the thing. That's why I clipped this one. As Lenin said in Russia. What did he say? The exact quote. It's something like, the worse it gets, the better it gets. The worse it gets, the better it gets. The worse it gets out there, the better it gets for my politics. Because there's a rage in this country. There's a rage. Who do I listen to on the internet? The people that get the rage. Jimmy Dore. Do I like the way Jimmy Dore presents himself all the time? 100%. Do I think Jimmy's the funniest person in the world? Not always. But you know what I love about Jimmy? Is he's angry. He's as angry as I am. And he's angry at the right people. That's what makes it fun. And who's going to organize this rage into a way that alleviates young people's economic concerns? It's socialists. It's communists, for real. Yeah, that's one of my favorite. My boy Caleb Maupin told me. This is an old Sherwood Anderson quote from the great writer of Winesburg, Ohio. What's the difference between a socialist and a communist? A communist means it. That's the difference. You know what people desperately want in this country? Is someone that means it. And someone that wants to tear down the system. I've seen people online talk about Bane in Dark Knight Rises. I just watched it last night because I'd never watched it before. I'd seen a lot of people talk about Bane. Specifically when Bane goes in the Bane goes in the, what's it called? The New York Stock Exchange and grabs one of the guy's cards and starts making bad trades. And he's like, "Sir, why'd you break in the stock exchange? There's no money in here to steal." And Bane's like, "Then why are you all here?" And people remember Bane well. If you watch the movie again, Bane doesn't really have any sort of coherent revolutionary politics. But if he had a very focused ideology and critique of the economic system and why people are struggling so much, and he pointed at specific people, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, the Rockefeller family, the Rothschild family, right? Specific. Break up the trusts. Take over that'd be fun. Take over NBC and then do a 1-hour PowerPoint presentation breaking down international trust capital and who has it and who's funding what and who's screwing you over so that you can't make a decent living. Put that on the TV. People would love that because people in this country It's one of the Achilles heels of all these movies that they've made, championing the underdog. We love the underdog in America. Love it. And when you tie it with economics and you're able to communicate that to the people effectively, you ain't going to be able to shut that down. You're not. You're not. You're going to have to resort to some years of lead scenario, some Operation Gladio scenario, some AOC Bernie Sanders fake socialism like Zohran. Let's see if you're for real, Zohran. I'll show you a clip of Zohran here in a minute, though, why I don't think he's for real. So they asked Zohran, they go, Donald Trump called you a communist, Zohran. Are you a communist? No, I am not a communist. I'm a democratic socialist, like Martin Luther King. We're nice. Well, what happened to Martin Luther King, Zohran? What happened to Martin Luther King versus Mao Zedong and Joseph Stalin and Fidel Castro? This phone is going in and out on me. It doesn't really matter. It's more about the audio than the video. I'm just gonna let it ride. I don't really care. Let's finish up. Let's see what Louisa had to say. The thing is that working class people think they're not working class. They're okay with being exploited. I feel like Americans have such a big ego. They get comfortable even when things are bad. Yeah, as long as we're the best. Like most Americans just think, well, we're the best. While they're working 4 jobs. And they don't have, like, they make fun of a lot of Americans for never leaving the country. I don't have enough money to leave the country. Most Americans are broke. From my experience, yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. It's capitalist propaganda. I mean, their brains are so soaked in it they can't even see it. It's like the They Live movie. I find myself like questioning things sometimes, like, holy crap. Like I'll like intellectually see through it, and then I'll realize that I'm really in my heart still believing it though. And you know, if I'm like that, holy crap, people that don't, you know, read Lenin, like what choice do they have? What chance do they have? Okay. I think they got a lot of chance. I think in their gut, as soon as it's presented to them in a way, they're like, oh, yeah, that guy is.
Young people.
That's the whole reason everyone voted for President Trump.
No, that's why he won young people.
Absolutely.
There
And
you
that's
go.
why another reason why I love him. His message and campaign promises are the greatest. But if Republicans don't deliver them, once you burn people are too burned. They've been burned too many times by the government. They've been burned too many times by politicians.
By
They don't trust
capitalism.
anybody anymore. And I don't blame them. I'm like, I feel the same way.
Maybe we should just move oil prices up to $100 a barrel because we're having another war in the Middle East. Like the reckless, like if you brought that up, I said that, I was roundly attacked for saying that.
I was attacked for that. I was
That's not a real concern, tanking your economy? I guess it's not
everybody
if you're Mark Levin, but I think most people are concerned about that.
well, I guess
All right, that's good. And we got one more clip on here I want to play. Let's go ahead to that because I got quite a few videos I want to talk about. Should be right around here. It's the last one.
Well, anyway, I just think it's a really smart analysis. What you said, it's true.
Thank you.
Do you feel like any of this will change? The attitudes will change?
What was the
Well, anyway,
analysis?
I just think it's a really smart analysis. What you said, it's true.
Thank you.
What did she say?
Any honest person to listen to the hour and a half we just did, maybe they hate everything you said.
Okay.
No one thinks you're stupid. That was really smart analysis. Much smarter analysis than I got from Harvard Law School graduate Ted Cruz, I would say. Did you go to Harvard Law School?
No,
You
definitely
didn't?
not.
Okay. Well, anyway, I just think it's a really smart analysis. What you said, it's true.
Thank you.
Do you feel like any of this will change? The attitudes will change that the people claiming to put America first actually will?
I think there's a shift happening, and I saw it a little bit. I don't know how big it is, but I saw a small shift, and I saw it mostly in regular people. And I think there are people I serve with that are feeling it too, but I don't know how willing they are to just say enough. You know, enough of this. I'm just gonna focus on our country and my district because it's the simplest thing to say. The most simplest thing to say. I can say I hope so, but I don't think it's gonna happen as quickly as I'd like to see it.
Yeah, well, 2026 when they get just creamed, you know, election morning, they're like, oh, Democratic Party is so disorganized. They're still talking about trans stuff. I hated the trans stuff more than I've hated almost anything. I mean, I really hated it. Destroyed so many lives of kids. But what it's really about is economics, and they have just refused to acknowledge that.
That's what comes.
That's what it comes down to. That's what she says. It's really about economics. That's what it comes down to. Listen to him say this. Listen to him say this, and they hate socialism. I don't understand this at all. I don't understand the blind spot, guys. Like, the blind spot in America to this is insane. It's insane. Have you seen that chart of like Chinese electricity versus US electricity production? China's is going straight up. Americans is flat. Like, I don't. China passed the US and purchase power. What's it? PPP? What's that? Purchasing power parity in like 2014. What does that mean if you've never heard of that? It means they can buy more with their dollar than we can. That's what it means. Gross domestic product is just how much money is moved around in the economy. And that includes like credit card payments. It's rentier capitalism. Any sort of rent. It doesn't produce anything. When you pay for your Netflix prescription, Netflix subscription, there's a Freudian slip there. Big Pharma. It doesn't produce anything. It's just rent extraction. That media exists on the internet for no rent extraction. I don't know how they're. To me, it's going to become exceedingly obvious, at least to the people under 40, to the millennials. We're already doing it with like Red Note. We look at China and we're like, why can't we have high-speed rail? Why can't we have a low-orbit economy? And I think pretty soon it'll be, why can't we have fusion energy? ExxonMobil, if they have it in Beijing, it's going to become really like late-stage SimCity versus mid-stage SimCity. And then Americans are going to be like, what? Young people with an internet connection are going to demand it. And capitalists can't provide it because it's all about private land ownership, private ownership of companies, corporations, multinational corporations. It's all about private. It's all about mine. I'm a billionaire. I think a good campaign slogan would be less billionaires, more millionaires. I don't understand. This Zohran guy is the first one that has kind of made any traction with this. I think it's because New York is the center of, overeducated, aspiring young people. And they're not able to aspire. And that's where it's taking root. But it's everywhere else as well. Let's hear him say this about economics.
They're still talking about trans stuff. I hated the trans stuff more than I've hated almost anything. I really hated it. Destroyed so many lives of kids. But what it's really about is economics, and they have just refused to acknowledge that.
Mm-hmm. That's what it comes down to.
You're totally right.
Yep, because what happened under 4 years of Biden? Inflation was crazy.
Yep.
Everything was out of control. The world, our whole country felt unstable. The economy was fake. It was propped up by money pumped into it by the government and all the spending. And look at the shift that happened. People couldn't take the crazy
Private
anymore.
equity owns the houses on your street and your veterinarian and your dental practice and owns everything. And they don't improve it. They make it shittier, actually.
Yeah, because no one's going to care about their sweet little, like I always love the mom and pop grocery stores.
Yeah.
And I hate that they've been replaced by Dollar General.
Of course.
Like one of my biggest pet peeves.
But you're not allowed to mention it or else you're a socialist. Ben Shapiro's like, oh, you're a socialist. Because I don't like Dollar General, really?
Who's Ben Shapiro?
I have no idea. But I tried to bring this up to him years ago, that the economic thing, I'm hardly an economist, but I just think being able to afford to live in the country that you were born in and being, having an economy that allows your children to have children, that just seems like that's the measure.
Yep. And you want to know something? That should be the one thing that unifies the entire, everybody.
That's all I care about. I'll tell you that.
I don't care. I'm getting to the point where I almost don't care about the two parties anymore.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, why would I be loyal to one?
The thing that I don't feel that they'll acknowledge is, from what I understand, it's much easier to start a mom and pop grocery store in China than it is in America. Because China does not tolerate a monopoly at all. If you're a crooked banker in China, you get a public execution. They encourage small business. They have tons of small banks. They stole that idea from Japan. Small banks everywhere. So you can get local credit from someone that actually knows you. And you don't have to get down on your hands and knees and beg for Citibank or whoever's picking Obama's cabinet to give you a loan. They don't want to give you a loan. They want you to die in debt. Not a good kind of a loan. They just want you to rack up credit card debt. They're not going to give you anything to build your business.
And I definitely disagree with the other one.
Did I mute this? What's going on?
But if we can find a place to actually, like you're talking about, care about the economy.
I can't hear it anymore. Let's see. No, it should be playing. sharing this tab. See if I can share it again. Maybe that'll fix it. I don't know exactly what happened there. There we go.
Economy and care about our children's ability to have a future and raise a family, then I don't care. I don't care who I have to work with. It's just getting to the point where that is so fundamentally important and nothing else should matter.
This isn't good. Okay, I'm going to exit totally and try it from scratch. Let's try it that way. This is the fun of doing it live. I like it this way. I could always go back and edit all this out. I probably won't because I hate editing so much. I'd rather just make another live video. What happened? There it is. There it is. Now I can hear it. Now I can hear it. Let's see if I can hear it when I do this. Right there. We're somewhere around 136.
I couldn't agree more. Marjorie Taylor Greene, thank you for spending all this.
And I definitely
children to have children. That just seems like
there you go.
That's the measure.
We made it.
And you want to know something? That should be the one thing that unifies the entire everybody.
It's all I care about. I'll tell you that.
I don't care. I'm getting to the point where I almost don't care about the two parties anymore.
Oh, yeah.
I wish you didn't care about the word socialism. And then we'd be getting somewhere, Marjorie.
I'm like, why would I be loyal to one? And I definitely disagree with the other one. But if we can find a place to actually, like you're talking about, care about the economy and care about our children's ability to have a future and raise a family, then I don't care. I don't care who I have to work with. It's just getting to the point where that is so fundamentally important and nothing else should matter.
I couldn't agree more. Marjorie Taylor Greene, thank you for spending all this time.
Right. So I'm done with that one. 36 minutes in. Okay. Let's switch here. Louisa, you said that about Joe Biden, people thinking Joe Biden's a socialist. Let me show you this real quick.
What I've seen on NYU's campus and what I've seen in polls all over, in CNN even, a Harvard University poll last May showed that people between the ages of 18 and 29, not just Democrats, not just leftists, 51% of people between 18 and 29 no longer support the system of capitalism. And that's not me asking you to make a radical statement about capitalism, but I'm just telling you that my experience is that the younger generation is moving left on economic issues. And I've been so excited to see how Democrats have moved left on social issues. As a gay man, I've been very proud to see you fighting for our rights and for many Democratic leaders fighting for our rights. But I wonder if there's anywhere you feel that the Democrats could move farther left to a more populist message, the way the alt-right has sort of captured this populist strain on the right wing. If you think we could make a more stark contrast to right-wing economics.
Well, I thank you for your question, but I have to say we're capitalist, and that's just the way it is. However, we do think that capitalism is not necessarily meeting the needs with the income inequality that we have in our country. And let me just tell you this. I don't know how much time we have. About 40 years ago, a little bit more now, no less a person in terms of capitalism than the chairman of the Standard Oil of New Jersey said. He talked about stakeholder capitalism. Capitalism that said when we make decisions as managements and CEOs of the country, we take into consideration our shareholders, our management, our workers, our customers.
Okay, this is just nonsense. It's stakeholder capitalism. How much of a stake do I own working at Walmart? Think about that. Not a whole lot, I don't think. Come on, camera. I just got to get a dedicated camera, people. I'm just going to do it like this. We'll do that. That'll work. It doesn't really matter. The video's not that important. But, man. You know what? I think I'm just going to restart this real quick. I realize I'm such a perfectionist that I just won't do a stream because I'm like, oh, I got to get this perfect, and I got to get that perfect, and I got to get this perfect, and it doesn't matter. All that matters is I get on here and get the ideas out. That's what matters. If you want to stick around and chill, that'd be cool. If you got something else to do, there's a billion other things to look at on the internet, so go with God or Satan or whoever's leading you on the internet. Okay. Millennial here. I can confirm no support for boomers or the Zionist entity. Hey, thanks for stopping by, American Django. Yeah, we're getting there, man. It does feel like the split. It feels like the major split, the fourth turning split Boomers leaving millennials behind, and millennials going to heaven, to Zionist heaven, will leave the millennials with a crushed economy. Even they admit it. They're like, well, it's good for me, but these kids, oh boy, it's not looking good for them. Well, we're probably going to do socialism, because what other opportunity do we have? There isn't one. Okay, hang on. I think I can do it. I think I can do it. Let's see if it works. Last try of this thing. Last try of this thing. Last try. There's so many buttons, it's hard to put it in a holder because it almost always presses one of the buttons. All right. Let's see if that works. Is it doing the camera? Nope, now it's pressing the camera button. Awesome. Hang on. Let's see if that works. Maybe. Say a little prayer. Oh boy, we're back. All right, we did it. It's like flip me around, but that's okay. Okay, so let's go to the next video here. Thanks for dropping by, American Django. I think the next video I want to do is Zohran and his billionaire thing. Hang on. Give me just a second. Switch to that.
All right, you are a self-described.
Okay, here we go. So if you go down, you can see my comment. More millionaires, less billionaires. Seems like a good idea. So this is the comment here about billionaires.
Democratic socialist. Do you think that billionaires have a right
use of that language?
That language on your website.
The focus here is to actually ensure a fair property tax system, and that the use of that language is an assessment of the neighborhood.
All right, you are a self-described democratic socialist.
I do want to say democratic socialism. Stalin called democratic socialism the left wing of fascism. That's a fun one. But anyway, let's hear what they have to say.
Do you
tax system, and that the use of that language is an assessment of the neighborhood.
All right, you are a self-described democratic socialist. Do you think that billionaires have a right to exist?
I don't think that we should have billionaires because, frankly, it is so much money in a moment of such inequality. And ultimately, what we need more of is equality across our city and across our state and across our country. And I look forward to work with everyone, including billionaires, to make a city that is fairer for all of them.
Well, let me ask you about what Donald Trump, the president of the United States, has had to say. He's had a lot to say about your campaign. He called you a communist. Because he's the president, I want to give you a chance to respond directly to him. How do you respond? Are you a communist?
No, I am not. And I have already had to start to get used to the fact that the president will talk about how I look, how I sound, where I'm from, who I am, ultimately because he wants to distract from what I'm fighting for. And I'm fighting for the very working people that he ran a campaign to empower that he has since then betrayed. And when we talk about my politics, I call myself a democratic socialist in many ways inspired by the words of Dr. King from decades ago, who said, call it democracy or call it democratic socialism. There has to be a better distribution of wealth for all of God's children in this country. And as income inequality has declined nationwide, it has increased in New York City. And ultimately, what we need is a city where every single person can thrive.
All right, stay right.
Think how baller it would be if they were like, are you a communist? And he goes, you're damn right. And Trump, I'm coming for your property specifically. See you out there. Even if you're a huge Trump supporter, Americans are just so they so want someone fighting the system, and they love someone. Hey, I'm trying to put you back into a little corner, And you're not this horrible thing that people have been propagandized for 75 years, are you? Oh, no, I'm not that. I'm the cuddlier version. I'm the Martin Luther King version. I'm the Democratic Socialist version. Would have been a lot more baller, dude, if you'd just been like, hell yeah, I'm a communist and I'm proud of it. And I just won. We're coming for you. Nail down your property. Let's see. Hey, political power sure has worked before. Watch the video on Mao's land reform if you think it's a pipe dream. But in this country, they want you to believe, Tina, there is no alternative. There is no other way to do property relations. This is the apex zenith of it, America. Don't you young millennials feel it in your heart? Propertyless, outcast and wondering with an advanced degree amongst the wonders that Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, and Bill Gates have made. It's beautiful, isn't it? But yeah, if you do consider yourself a communist, remember that quote right there from Mandami. Mandami says, I am not a communist. Duly noted. That makes you less like Joseph Stalin and more like cuddly little AOC, who won't even stand up to Nancy Pelosi, who you said was one of the greatest politicians in the history of the world, AOC. Okay. Okay, bro. Playing it safe. I'd rather you play it dangerous. Let's go ahead and go to, we're going to go to Timmy D. If I can find where that tab is. Let's just look it up this way. I would like to show you real quick the comments on here on this video were very interesting to me and kind of show a change in the zeitgeist. If we go down to the comments, they're all about 1 million seconds equals 11 days. 1 billion seconds equals 32 years. I don't think most people understand how much $1 billion is. This has 7,000 upvotes. It's ridiculous to watch the media clutch their pearls when someone has the audacity to suggest that poor and working class people deserve some relief. Meanwhile, we just toss billions to everywhere else with no issue. Billionaires will leave if you make them pay more. Call their bluff. Yeah, this guy that doesn't want government-owned grocery stores. He says here that if Mondami wins, I own all these grocery stores. I'm CEO of this G-word grocery store, Gristides. I will definitely close or sell or move or franchise the Gristides locations. Why? Because you want to feed the people of New York? Evidently not. Evidently politics is about more to you than feeding the people of New York. My guess would be it's your profits. That's what concerns you more than feeding the people of New York. All right. Let's go on to Tim Dillon. Tim Dillon. I saw someone in the comments called Tim the fat gay version of Mark Twain for our generation. Tim is my favorite comedian working today, for sure. So this is it. Here we go. Let's share this one. Share tab. Share tab. I did have it pulled up, and I didn't think that was the name. Waiting for war and negotiations under fire. That does not seem like a Tim Dillon title, but it is. All right, here we go.
/Tim and use code TIM for 25% off your first order. That's massachips.com/Tim. Code TIM for 25% off your first order. Massa Chips, beef tallow is the future. What is this, Tulsi? Is she warning the world about nuclear war again?
Yeah, it's a statement she put out recently.
Let's hear what she has to say. She's on the outs, though, I think. But let's see.
I recently visited Hiroshima in Japan and stood at the epicenter of a city that remains scarred by the unimaginable horror caused by a single nuclear bomb dropped in 1945, 80 years ago. Yet this one bomb that caused so much destruction in Hiroshima was tiny compared to today's nuclear bombs. As we stand here today, closer to the brink of nuclear annihilation than ever before, political elite and warmongers are carelessly fomenting fear and tensions between nuclear powers. Perhaps it's because they are confident that they will have access to nuclear shelters for themselves and for their families that regular people
Yeah, I mean, I like her, but what is this? Like, you know, like it's like you're in the thing now. This is what these people have to stop doing. I understand that you're going against the deep state. Get her out of here. And this is some free advice. I know that she watches sometimes. So I'm with you, sister friend. Aloha. But you're in the thing now. You got to start calling people out, naming names. Stop this fucking, let's stop playing footsie with this bullshit here. Who's trying to get us into the thing? Name. Everyone up there is tongue-tied. They got Cash Patel and Rogan going like, what is the thing here? Like, do these people have names? Can you not say them? Do these people exist? You're in it now. You're in it. If people are trying to start a nuclear war, arrest them. Tell us who they are. I know it's more complicated than this, but here's the deal. You can't have the benefit of the doubt anymore if you're in the thing. I know. You go, it's a permanent government. They operate in the shadows. I know. But I cannot hear these ominous warnings from people in the fucking government. Figure it out. Stop these people, these dark forces, these powerful factions. Stop them. It's literally what you're elected to do. It's literally what you're elected to do. And our president, baby cakes, is about to go into Iran with Israel. And hopefully that works. But like, who are these dark forces? Like, can we shine some light on this? Because I'm just a little tired of like all of these people that got elected and they just can't say anything. They just can't speak and can't utter anything. And they're all probably terrified. Maybe they'll get killed, but that's your job. If you're going to get whacked for saying the truth, you better say the truth and get whacked. That's what you got elected to do. You didn't get elected to write a book or to go out clubbing or whatever the hell you're all doing. You didn't get elected to go on Don Jr.'s podcast. You got elected to tell us what the fuck was going on. So you either don't know what's going on, and that's okay, then shut up. Or if you know what's going on and you, for whatever reason, cannot tell everybody, then shut up as well. Come to us with something. You need to have something. And it's starting to feel really shady. And it's starting to feel like, you know, the more and more I think about everything. And
I'll come back to this in a second. But yeah, you got to show us something. You got to show us something. We voted to put you in there and release everything. And now you're like, you know, we looked into that Epstein thing. He's a squeaky clean guy. Really nothing to see. Nothing. Is it either there's nothing to see or that there's so much to see that it would probably crash the economy and bring down like the head of every, Fortune 500 CEO, which is more likely in our corrupt capitalist system. But this thing about, we couldn't tell you. Why don't you? Why don't you? Get in there and do it. Mao sent his own son to fight in North Korea against the Americans, and he died. Is that because he was like, I just hate my son, I'm going to kill? No, he did that because he's doing what they want every American politician to do. Do you want to go fight in a war? Then send your own kid to the front line. And he goes, I do believe in this war, and he will. And I'm sure if you ask this kid, he believed in the cause. It's Americans can't even wrap their head around it. Walter Kern, the only podcast I've ever subscribed to and gave money was Racket News with Matt Taibbi and Walter Kern. I love those guys. Walter, they were reading Catch-22. Walter said he's always sided with Israel since he was a kid. They barely ever, I don't know if I ever heard them talk about the kids dying in Gaza, which I'm like, of all things to talk about, that'd probably be one of them. But then at the end of the episode, it was last Monday's live stream on YouTube. You can go watch it at the very end. Watch the last 5 minutes. Walter says, I don't ever believe in anything worth dying for. Anyone that believes in something enough to die for it, that's a crazy person, and I don't want anything to do with them. Well, you're never going to fix politics in America unless you get people willing to fight and die for it. Just like Tim said in this video. You're in there, Tulsi. Oh, yeah, but I can't tell you. They'll kill me. They'll kill my whole family. They'll kill my kids. You better be ready for that. When you go into office, that's what you should be ready for. We need people going into office, and if you get into office and you find out, I can't do anything. These people just threaten my life. You should go out on TV. Pull your phone out. How hard is this today? Pull your phone out and say, so-and-so, the heir to the Rockefeller fortune just called me and sent me this weird video with this guy with his hands tied behind his back, some Canadian pharmacy dude from a few years ago, and said, it's like the IDF tape. I don't know if you guys have heard that, where they called the general in Iran and they're like, we have your whole family. targeted. Either rebuke the regime, or we will kill you all. We will kill your wife. We will kill your child. None of those guys did it. It's because Iran actually believes in what they're fighting for, which Walter thinks is bad. It's the only way you change the world, dude. It's how the American Revolution happened. I think you like that one. Anyway, I couldn't give those guys money anymore. It broke my heart. I don't think you should have heroes. They're just going to disappoint you. Just get on here and put your own thoughts into the ether. Let's finish this up for Tim here. But yeah, give us something. That's what he wants. Give us something. And then I thought, I could play the video of Tim, but talking about how the broke, overeducated millennials in New York voted for the socialist guy because they don't have many hopes. But I want to go to this and end on this. Tim's saying, hey, Tulsi, give us something. Give us something. And he goes, oh, I'm not a communist. Let me show you what the communists did when they took over in Russia. What they gave the people. Okay? Let's look at it here. Share this tab instead. All right? Let me put it over here so I can scroll through it. Make sure you can see it. This is basic chat GPT. There's going to be many commies out there that know way more about this than me. But this will wet your whistle, and you can look into it a little bit more. So when the Bolsheviks took over in Russia, this is exactly what Tim wants Tulsi and RFK and Trump and JD Vance. This is what he wants them to do. But they've demonized the word communism in this country. Even though, look at this. If they did this in America, think, would Americans hate this? Oh, my dad's here. Hey, Dad. I got to bring this home. Tell me if you think Americans would hate this. So the Bolsheviks took over in Russia. And I asked it, what confidential records of the Tsar did the Bolsheviks in Russia publish after the revolution? So here's what they published. After the October Revolution of 1917, the Bolsheviks accessed and published numerous previously confidential records of the Tsarist regime and the provisional government. Their goal was to expose the imperial state's secret dealings, compromises, and corruption, especially in foreign policy. Some of the most significant disclosures included Tsarist secret treaties with the Allies. These were perhaps the most sensational revelations. So this would be like if Trump and crew got in there and on day one they published the Epstein list and they started charging people. Now you tell me. Americans wouldn't like that. And if they found out that the communists were the only ones serious enough to do it, that they wouldn't support that party regardless of its name. We want material changes. I don't care what y'all call yourselves. Put the Cold War boomer propaganda hiding under your desk in the past. The economy's going to put it in the grave anyway. The Bolsheviks published a trove of secret treaties and diplomatic correspondence between the Tsarist government and later the provisional government and the Allied powers of World War I, primarily Britain and France. Key examples include the Sykes-Picot Agreement of 1916, a secret agreement between Britain and France with Russian consent to divide the Ottoman Empire's Arab provinces into spheres of influence after World War I. I was blown away by that. I didn't know. I forgot that the Bolsheviks took over in Russia and they published Sykes-Picot, which showed that the British and the French had cut up the Middle East in a way to where the tribes of the Middle East would all fight with each other and they could suck out the oil easily. Basic imperialism. That's a good one. That's a big one. Wouldn't it be nice if our leaders published stuff like that we could see? Russian claims to Constantinople and the Straits. These showed Russia's imperial ambitions in the Ottoman Empire, contradicting the Allies' public rhetoric about freedom for oppressed nations. Other territorial promises, such as control over eastern Anatolia, parts of Persia, and influence in the Balkans. These publications aim to discredit both the old regime and the Western imperialist powers by revealing the extent of backroom imperialist bargaining. Number 2, the Okhrana files. The Okhrana, the Tsarist secret police, maintained surveillance files on revolutionaries, dissidents, and other politically active individuals. The Bolsheviks exposed informants and double agents, including some who had penetrated revolutionary movements. Wouldn't that be nice if Kash Patel did this? He got in the FBI and he told you every single person at NBC, ABC, I want to say CIA. That's not a news institution. Yeah, I mean, they'd pretty much be everybody, right? But it sure would be nice to see it in WikiLeaks black and white, straight from Kash Patel. Why is he not doing that? Because you're a chicken? Kash Patel is taco. They use these files for propaganda and purging. Is it really propaganda if it's true? I guess it's white propaganda, showing the Tsarist regime's brutal repression and infiltration tactics. In some cases, the information led to distrust or marginalization of certain non-Bolshevik revolutionaries who had past ties or suspicions of contact with Okhrana. Well, that would be like if you found out, Zohran had been an informant. Or AOC or Bernie. Which I'm pretty sure there's something there. Court and nobility correspondence. Some personal and internal communications of the Romanovs and high aristocracy were also seized and published to show extravagance and decadence of the royal family during times of national crisis. So people were starving, peasants in Russia, and they were sending poor kids to go die on the front lines in an imperial war. Sometimes without rifles, they just say, pick up a rifle with somebody dead on the front line when you get there. Kind of like Zelensky in the Ukraine today. Ineffectiveness and backroom politicking in the Tsar's decision-making, especially during World War I. The influence of Rasputin and the internal decay of the monarchy. I'm going to go back to number 4 here. I'm going to send Dad, I'm going to send you a link just in case you want to come on and share your thoughts here. I'm going to send it to you on the Signal. Let me pull it open real quick. Bear with me, peeps. Just 1 second. Bear with me, fam. As they say. Fam's a bit played out at this point. There we go. See if Pops wants to come on. Okay. 4. Provisional government records. After the Bolsheviks seized power, they also released documents from the short-lived provisional government, March to October 1917, which showed continued secret diplomacy with the Allies, undermined the provisional government's claim to be a democrat and transparent authority, helped the Bolsheviks portray themselves as the only faction truly opposed to imperialist war. Did it? I don't think it helped them. It was true. That's what people desperately want in America. Desperately want. And I desperately would like the leftist factions in America to get along. But I guess that would be about as likely as the Christians, different Christian churches in America to get along. You can keep dreaming. Motivation behind the publications. Lenin and Trotsky in particular emphasized transparency and anti-imperialism as part of their revolutionary message. Publishing these documents was a deliberate political move to undermine support for the war, discredit rival socialist factions like the Mensheviks and foreign powers, justify immediate peace negotiations, was culminated in the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk, inspire revolutionary movements in other countries by exposing the duplicity of their own governments. So anyway, you can look up these specific documents. And, but yeah, that gives you they pretty much publish the Epstein list. The communists did. The people that you're not supposed to like at all. The horrible, very bad, akin to Satanism, communists. They told you what you wanted to know. Those are the people. That's the difference. Like Sherwood Anderson said, that's the difference between a socialist and a communist, is a communist means it. A communist looks you dead in the eyes and says, I will smile as you put a bullet in my head. That's fine. Somebody else is going to pick up my message and carry right on. But before you do, I'm going to tell everybody all the dirty secrets I find out about you. Just so they'll know. Because I'm not afraid of you. I'm not afraid of you, Satan. To me, that seems more Christ-like than, clutching your pearls and making some Tulsi Gabbard message about, oh boy, there's bad people doing bad things out there, guys. I'm not going to tell you who they are or, if I was just in a position to stop them, like director of national intelligence in charge of every powerful intelligence agency in the country, then I might do something myself. I'm trying behind the scenes. I can't tell you what I'm doing. That would be naughty. But just trust me. Trust me, I'm really working hard, okay? There's bad people doing bad things. But I'm not going to tell you who they are. I'll show you who told you who they are. I showed you. I read it to you. The communists told you who they are. We need that movement in this country. And it looks like it's going to happen because nobody else is going to do it. As Sherwin Anderson said, the difference between a socialist and a communist, I'd say socialist or anybody else, a communist and anybody else on the left. The CIA makes people in America, as Louisa said up here, people in America think Democrats are the left. Where did she say it up here? Americans' thought on right and left wings is so different from the rest of the world. I've read that Joe Biden is a socialist when he is not even left wing. They don't even know what real communism is. No, they don't. And that's on purpose. That's on purpose. They don't want them to know it because they would like it. If they realized it was people willing to give their lives to fight for working class people to have a better life, and they did give their lives for it. Lenin got shot in the head. Che Guevara got assassinated by the CIA. He had my favorite quote ever before being assassinated. He said, "Shoot, coward. You'll only kill a man." Shoot, coward. You'll only kill a man. If you want to be in politics, you should be willing to die for what you believe. If you're not willing to die for what you believe, don't be in politics. Go into marketing or, sell Tupperware or whatever else. But don't go into politics. Especially don't go into leftist politics because you just make those of us that really believe it look bad. Which is the reason you're really there. That's the reason you're really there. And I know it. The CIA put you there to discredit the real ones. Anyway, if you guys like that political commentary, I got to get off here because I got to work at Walmart tomorrow because of the wonders of capitalism. Okay? Doing well. If you want to support the stream, oh, Dad's on here. Let's get Dad's take for a second. See what he's got to say. Hello, Father.
Hello. That's take for a second.
Oh, we're getting some feedback from you, brother.
Okay, hold on a minute.
I'll go on here till 11, guys. Hey, Louisa, see you later. I'm gonna get Dad's take on things. Hey, Dad, are you there?
I'm here.
You got your headphones?
Yeah,
I don't hear feedback. I think you're okay now. I don't hear any feedback. I think you're all right.
Yeah, the TV was on. I turned it down.
Okay. You're a good man. What do you think of all of that? You're not a boomer, are you, Dad?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I'm
one of my
calling
students
that.
said,
Well,
"See, Mr.
I was
McConnell."
born in the late stages of whatever they call the boomers. I hate when they throw all of us in the same box.
Yeah, I know.
Just because you're born a certain time, that means you think a certain way. Oh, come on, give me a break. Get a life.
This is good you guys see this, though, because I love my boomer dad. Even though
Our love for each other is greater than any opinion we have.
That's true. And we'll be in the foxhole together.
We'll be in a foxhole together.
When the revolution comes, he'll I don't think he'll join the fascist extermination of the Reds. He'll be like, I'll get the rest of them, but not my son. He's a good one. He's a good pinko commie F slur.
Yeah.
He's a good one.
Yeah. You can mess with me, but don't mess with my son.
That's right. Well, I always feel like the people want us to talk about Israel, but I just don't want to do it because I know we're not going to agree on it, and it's going to make us both angry, and We'll let the sands of history blast that one out.
It's I got it. Yeah, but there you are.
Louisa, I don't know if you're still here, but thank you so much for listening. That makes my heart
Who's
swell with pride. That's a former student I had. She's from Brazil.
Yeah.
She was a foreign exchange student.
So is she in Brazil now?
I don't know. I would imagine she went back to Brazil. I had her a couple of years ago.
Yeah, well, that's
But
cool.
She was like, Americans have no idea what communism is. You come to Brazil, we'll show you the real deal. Americans think Kamala Harris is a communist.
Americans who've never been out of the country live in a bubble.
Yeah. Have you ever been out of the country?
Yeah, barely.
Really? Where'd you go?
Yeah. Yeah. So
I've never been out. I've been to Kansas. I've been to California. That was kind of out of the country.
yeah. In spite of our problems. We got some good things going on compared to how some people have to live.
She said she's still here. The live was great. It's always good to chat about politics. I'll try to do it more often. You know, I try to do lots of different videos on here, but this is my favorite, you know. My dream job, Dad, would be people to call me up and be like, what do you think about this? And if you could get paid for it, that would be pretty awesome. That's Mark Twain's late life. They would just come by his house and be like, Mark Twain, what do you think about this? She said, I came back to Brazil and haven't been back in the U.S. ever since. Don't plan on going back soon. Stay safe down there in Brazil.
Yeah.
It's wild up here. Say hi to Glenn Greenwald for me.
Yeah.
What have you been up to, Dad? You just celebrated a birthday yesterday, right? You finally turned.
Yeah.
What,
Well, I
40?
guess I did. It was a day anyway.
Did you turn 30? Did you turn 40?
I wish.
I could do the math.
I turned
Still
66.
66. That's a nice number. That's like a biblical
Yeah,
number.
I just need one more 6 and I can be the devil himself.
I don't know if you'll live that long.
Yeah, I just need one more 6. So anyway.
One more year and you're older than the books of the Bible, right?
Yeah.
I felt that was important when I outlived Jesus. That felt like a milestone. I outlived Kurt Cobain, and then I outlived Jesus, and I was like, you know, I'm not doing half bad. There's people done a whole lot more with a whole lot less. I feel like I'm just getting started. I think life starts at 40. I don't really know. I don't really know what's going on yet.
You think it's over? You think it'll be over till you get there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Your views change.
Does it still seem like, for me, it seems like every year goes faster. Does it continue to feel like that
It
as you get
does.
older?
Yeah. Sometimes I think of things and it seems like it only happened about 10 years ago. And then I think to myself, my God, that was 45, 50 years ago.
That's a little ways ago.
Half a century.
Just a tad. What if I can do this? This is kind of more fun to look at. Yeah, I like that one. I like
So you
the
can look at
screen.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I was watching some interesting stuff the other night. You ever see that video of Blood on the Mountain?
Yeah, about the West Virginia, the miners' strikes.
Yeah. I watched several different films about the...
You watched Make
Oh,
One
Lord.
with me.
Yeah. And then I watched a good one about the mafia and the steel workers.
Yeah. From what I understand, in Italy, that was, I'm watching 1900 right now, but that was a lot of the way the CIA prevented the communists from winning in Italy, was they used the Vatican Bank to funnel money in, and they gave it to the mafia to kill the communists. in Italy.
Yeah.
That was called The Years of Lead or Operation Gladio. Have you ever heard of that? Operation Gladio?
Yeah. A lot of crazy.
Here, I'll show you. Let's pull it up. Put it over here.
Yeah.
Here you go. Operation Gladio, Dad. Was a code name for a clandestine stay-behind operation of armed resistance that was organized by NATO and the CIA during the Cold War. And it was used, it used assassination, psychological warfare, and false flag operations to delegitimize left-wing parties in Western European countries. And its biggest win...
I know about the minor strikes.
Its biggest win was it prevented the communists from winning in the Italian election. I can't remember what year that was exactly. But it's kind of funny to me, if communism's so bad and it fails so easily, why is the CIA going to all this trouble? To protect us, I guess.
They don't know what the heck they're doing.
I'm pretty sure they overthrew Brazil. They overthrew the government down there, had a Brazilian military coup until the 1960s. Another good CIA.
I liked your little deal about the minor cemetery.
You like that? Did you watch that one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I watch it all, babe.
You're the man, Dad. Mother Jones, yeah. I'm glad you're on here. Whenever I analyze the boomer millennial divide, I always go, "Oh man, I hope Dad don't get mad at me for this one." I sure love Dad.
I ain't gonna get mad.
I think you can analyze big trends and still love specific people. You know.
Yeah.
You got to.
Yeah.
I kind of feel this guy, they're all talking about New York. I think he's going to disappoint all the hopeful kids. I don't think he's going to be able to deliver. But it does show the way people want it, you know. What was Bernie 10 years ago? They stabbed him in the back. They keep giving us these false prophets, if you will. False hope, I think. That was a big thing in the Batman movie. That if you really want to torture somebody, you don't just break them. You give them false hope. That's the way to really torture people.
Yeah.
Give them false hope.
Bernie ain't gonna do nothing.
No, it's gonna take people that are willing to die. The Irish know a thing about that, right, Dad?
They didn't make good,
we didn't make good slaves because you just got to put us in the ground. It's better to die on your feet than live on your belly.
You have to back up a little bit. It's like Scots Irish. See, I don't think
George Galloway.
I think a lot of people are confused about Ireland. They think it's all one big. No, there's two separate Irelands.
Yeah,
Ireland and Northern Ireland.
I'm glad I'm not white. I'm Irish. It's different.
So.
Anyway, I picked up a shift. I picked up a shift tomorrow, so I got to work all day tomorrow. But
what was them things you showing at Walmart? Was that bugs?
Yeah, fly trap.
A strip with bugs on it.
Yeah, yeah, right behind the water fountain.
It's a good place for it, I guess.
I guess so. It's got to be somewhere, you know. That was one of those. Am I taking a shot at Walmart? They got to catch the flies. Bless their little hearts.
They got to catch some flies.
How's Alice going to buy another Picasso? I always tell the kids, I go, you know Alice Walton bought a Picasso when she was 10? Did you know that? She must have had a really successful lemonade stand.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
She applied herself, and she pulled herself up by her spiritual bootstraps, and she made sure that her X and Y chromosomes came out of Sam Walton's testicles. And then
I'm surprised.
she was successful.
It really amazes me how people are so easily misled by what people, especially politicians, they're so easily misled. Oh, they just fall right in and believe whatever comes out of their mouth. And now you got to realize these are slick-tongued devils. You know what? There's some of these politicians. You know what? They would talk a monkey out of his last peanut and then turn around and sell it back to him for retail.
You like Lindsey Graham, though. He's a good one, right?
Oh, Lord. What a rhino.
He's your favorite, I know.
He's so fake. He's a warmonger.
He is. I can't believe Trump's going after Thomas Massey. I wish he'd leave old Thomas Massey alone. But hey, it is what it is. Marjorie, she says a lot of crazy things, but I feel she's at least genuine. She believes what she believes.
Least, well, whether you agree with her or not, at least you know where. At least you have no doubt where she stands.
No, I know. That's what I want from my politician.
Kind of like your grandma. You had no idea.
Yeah.
No, you know where she stands anyway.
Well, it's like, you know,
She don't hide it.
On one end, you got Marjorie Taylor Greene. On the other end, you got Justin Trudeau. Those are the two. And then in the middle, you got Bernie Sanders, a little bit of both.
Yeah.
But even if I don't agree with you, I have a lot of respect for, like, okay, that person's real. You know, that's all we want. It would be nice to have someone real willing to die for working people. Like, what don't you feel that way, Dad, if you got elected and you found out a bunch of dirty, horrible things that they do, and they'll be like, Gary, if you tell people, we'll kill you. We'll kill all.
They had me up on impeachment charges after 30 days.
But when you say, go ahead and kill me, we'll kill everybody you know. Go ahead. I'm still going to go out there and tell everybody what you're doing. I don't understand. I cannot wrap my head around the fact that no
You'd
one's
be like, do me a favor and get me out of this. Get me out of this hole.
I guess the only way you do it and live is you pull an Edward Snowden and you go hang out with Putin. You know, that's who you can tell who the real whistleblowers are, if they end up in Russia or not.
Well.
We made People Unite laugh. I appreciate that. Anyway, Pops, I'm going to get off here because I gotta work tomorrow. Do you got any last words for the people?
Nah.
Okay. Just sign up for my son's Patreon.
Nah.
Give him some money, and he'll take me out for
I've seen it.
Steak dinner at Colton's for my birthday.
Oh, Lord.
I got 2 cards from your granddaughters for you, for Gary.
Oh, okay.
Pawpaw Gary. I'll have to come deliver them.
Yeah.
They went all out. Molly worked really hard on the grass. She's very proud of the grass.
Oh, did she?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's got 2 colors, light green and dark green. She really worked on it. She got 2 kinds of trees, too, coniferous and deciduous.
Oh, okay.
She's got Pawpaw Gary written all over it, so you're a lucky man.
Yeah. You're a lucky man. Yeah.
You got an awe out of People Unite. That's nice.
Yeah.
Me too, man. Life.
Gotta love the girls.
Oh, yeah. You can't put a dollar sign on that, man. Can't put a dollar sign on that. I hate when people are like, you're not in no position to have kids. You should save $1 million before you have kids. I'm like, what the?
Yeah. All my grandkids and godchildren. So
that's right. If you want to have them, have them. The world needs more good kids in it. All right, Pops, I'm getting off here. I love you.
Okay.
Everybody, you want to support the channel? I would like to do this all the time at some time, but it's hard to do it all the time when you got $1,000 in the bank. So,
well, this sounds embarrassing, but your channel, you know, I'm subscribed to your channel. Okay.
Yeah.
And I come on here tonight and it has a little join. So I said, well, I'm already subscribed. So I joined. You know,
it wants your money.
And then it went $4.99 a month, which ain't no money. You know, you okay. You ain't on the government's retirement plan, so.
No. Don't worry about that, Dad. I'd give your money back to you.
You know. And when of course
I hate that it has to be this way, you know. It's like, but
so
then the people that really make it,
I'm supposed to get that pension from the mine. So
Well, that would be cool. It's funny, the people that really make it, the internet doesn't really have, it's either, there's certain podcasts that make 6 figures a month. Like Tim Dillon makes 6 figures a month on his Patreon page. And
yeah,
I mean, it's either, I think I make at present, I make about $150 from YouTube. I do have like three patrons. They give me like 50 a month, which is really cool. I mean, every little bit is awesome. But it's not like I couldn't quit. You couldn't quit your second job. That's America. You can't quit your second job to do YouTube because you're making, what is it? I'm trying to do the math. I'll probably make about $125 a month from it. Mainly from the stupid shorts, and they're so dumb. I hate doing. I don't really hate doing it, but it's the only way to grow is just put out content. Especially if you got politics like mine, they ain't pushing this in the algorithm.
right. The guys are making a lot of money. They're talking to a lot of people. That they're saying a lot of things that they know a certain group want to hear.
Yeah. Well, Dad, I couldn't even. It's all right. People unite. I'm so sorry. It's so sad. Tight times. It is. I hate hearing people complain about it. You know what I mean? But it's
Right.
It's, I don't know. It would be nice.
I'm okay. Of course.
You want to get lucky. That's what you want to get. You
Adapt
can be
and
like, I don't know
overcome.
what I did.
All you can do.
It just worked out. I'm grateful to everybody. Thank you. But I went to Adam's house, my brother Adam, your other son. You may know him. I got on his YouTube page and I typed for my name exactly. And I am the biggest Tyler McConnell on YouTube by about 5,000 subs. And I couldn't find my own profile on my brother's page.
Yeah.
I could think about that, Dad. I typed in my name exactly and nothing came up. I couldn't find my own page. I had to look up some super specific video name that I had to find my own page, and I was like, man, they are just crushing me in the algorithm, which is cool.
Right.
That means I'm saying things that they legitimately don't like. So awesome. Yes, indeed, people unite. Yeah, my Patreon's my favorite though. I don't know. I like that one. Although some people get those shut down too. I know All American Vagabond got his shut down. I'm pretty Whitney Webb got hers shut down. There's another one through Russia called Boosty that people are using, and that's kind of cool. It's just, I don't know. I probably got too many links down there. The crypto links was probably overboard, but I don't know. I just keep making videos. Don't worry about the money. As Alan Watts said, what did he say, Dad? Do what you love and the money will follow. And I do love doing this with you. I know you're like me. You just love getting on here and talking about your ideas.
The secret to your success is don't quit.
Don't quit. That's it. I saw a great quote the other day. It said, I think it said,
Never fail unless you quit trying.
I'm gonna look it up. I saved it because it was so good. It was by Alex Hormozy, some gym guy, and he's kind of cringe, but this quote was so good. Let me see if I can find it here. Man. I know I saved it in here. I wanted to find it exactly. You know, I'm not going to be.
It's just like you talk about people getting on YouTube. Just get on there and do it.
Right.
Because, look, okay, I'm on here with you. You're there, sitting there with all your fancy equipment. Well, all I got's a phone. That's all you need.
That's all you need. That's all you need, man.
Start.
That's all you need.
And this little phone does a pretty good job.
Yeah, I think so. I always like, one of my favorite people to listen to is what is his name? It's Alistair. Alistair Crook, and he's always on his phone, and it's horrible. He's got horrible echo in his room. I mean,
Right.
it's not treated whatsoever.
It must be the phone he's got.
You know what? I didn't put it in my quotes. I saved it in my pictures. That's why I can't find it. But the quote was something like, necessity is the mother of invention and repetition is the father of success. And I love that. I was like, yeah, I just got to keep streaming every day. I do a pretty good job of keeping on top of the shorts, but the streams, you know, it's easier to put a couple minutes into shorts. It's a little harder to put an hour and a half into a stream, you know?
Yeah.
Because I end up feeling like a bad father because I'm like, man, I should be hanging out with my kids right now. They're little and cute. And what am I doing? Screaming into the internet? But it is easy to give up. People unite. I'm glad you're here, bro. You're keeping us motivated. And I'm going to try to just get in the habit of, when I come home, just hopping on here and grinding out an hour and then just getting off and hanging out with my babies because I love them and I want to enjoy them while they're little ones. Oh, thank you. Thank you, people. Yes, I love them. They're sweetie pies. Me and Grandpa both like them. G, the original G. Anyway, Dad, People Unite is a grandmother of 5. She loves the little ones. It's precious. I like your picture of the angel. That's nice. I just noticed that. Yes, anybody that's like, I don't like kids. I'm like, what kind of keep you away from me? What kind of person don't like kids? Like a hug from a 5-year-old. That's hard to beat, man.
Yeah. I'll throw their brain into a loop. Yeah.
You will?
I got kids of all colors call me Papa.
That's because you're racist.
I know it. That's what I always laugh at that. You don't even know what you're talking about.
People Unite said my mom and dad had 12. They had their own apostles. My dad loved kids. Everything he did was for us. I know. I don't. It's the best part of life, in my estimation. I encourage everybody to have them. You know, as a high school teacher, I go, don't have them like now, but pretty soon after now. I'll tell you. You go ahead.
It's the best. It's the best thing we can leave behind.
Well, I'm grateful you said so. I like life. I saw a good sunset out there today. So,
yeah, I'll tell that one too.
I'll tell you a good story about Sophie that cracked me up today. So I got up early to go to work, and nobody else was awake. And it was still dark, and she sat up in bed and she goes, Cheetos. And I said, what? She said, Cheetos, Dad. And I was like, you want me to get you Cheetos? Uh-huh. I said, do you want the puffs or the crunchy ones? Crunchy. And then she said, I want a potty back. Potty back. Potty back. Potty back. And I thought she said,
party pack.
I thought she said, I want my potty back. My potty back. And I go,
you want
your potty back? And she goes, no, I want a party bag. She didn't want me to screw her over, stiff her, because I started bringing those. I always feel bad because I'm like, these are horrible.
In other words, Dad, she don't want the small bag. She wants the big one.
I know. I was like, I'm gonna be a good dad and see if I can trick her. I'll just bring her that little bag, and that way she can be happy. It only costs like 99 cents. And she's very specific now. When I tell you, Dad, that I want Cheetos, I want the biggest bag they got. You catch my drift?
Party pack.
She said the potty bag. Potty bag. I'm glad you like that. People Unite.
She's got your number.
She's got my number. She's got me wrapped around her little finger. She was roller skating in the house tonight. It was so cute. She wanted her helmet so she could roller skate in the house.
Daddy's girl.
I agree. People Unite. They are precious. If any young people watch this, you're thinking about having them, have them. They're Sweet little angels. Best part of life. Ain't that right, Dad? Look at me. Look at me.
Yeah.
I'm the best part of life, Dad. Anyway, there's another guy. There's another duo. The Sun does a lot better job at cutting up the videos, but if I'll send you one of their videos, they're called I think it's Lost Amongst the Ruins, and it's a father-dad duo. They do geopolitical talk every day. It's Conversations Amongst the Ruins, I think it's called. But it reminded me of me and you, father-dad duo.
Yeah,
You're
I'm
welcome,
lost.
my friend. Do what?
I said I'm lost. All right.
Let me see. I'll show that to you real quick before you go. Hang on.
It's geese in a snowstorm.
Yeah, here it is. I'll show you this real quick. These are the two. This is a father and son duo, and they do like geopolitical talk every day.
Oh, Lord.
Okay, good morning, Dad.
Good morning.
Today is Friday, June 20th.
He's a smart guy, but I think we're way funnier than them. Oh, well.
Yeah,
It's okay. There's enough room on the internet for all of us. There's enough room on the internet. We don't have to
got to throw
compare.
the cliches in there that you got out of the book you wrote about the crazy things my dad says.
SHIT, my dad says. Anyway, maybe
Or
we can,
what was it you going to say? The SHIT things my dad says.
That's right. Shit my dad says was the name of the book. Let me see. Shit my dad says. He had a Twitter feed and a book. Spent 6 weeks on the bestseller list.
You really ought to write that book. It'd be more than a few pages.
You do say a lot of shit.
It'd be like,
There it is.
Yeah.
Hard
It
part is
also
writing
takes
it.
It also takes a big mouse to pull a plow too.
See that? There it is.
What's that?
That's the podcast. You can't see it on your little screen.
Oh, okay.
People Unite said, I'm always thinking of shit my dad said. Amen. People are watching us talk about this. I have no idea. This is more popular than me ranting about politics. So. Anyway,
Oh yeah, that probably get a bigger kick out of that.
I've thought about these huge podcasts that like. There's a famous podcast. There was Chapo Trap House. I mean, any comedy podcast. There's one called Come Town, and it's like hanging out at the junior high lunch table, and people love it. It'll have millions of views.
I hear that all the time. Well, you know who it is probably, but anyway, it's not who you think it is though. I had a lady tell me last night that you ought to do comedy. I said, I've been told that before.
Yeah, I have done comedy. We'll have to put some of Dad's comedy.
I said I have.
Hey, Sophie, I caught Sophie the other day. See this microphone? See how it's dented? Look at it.
Oh yeah. I see it.
Sophie got it and she dropped it off in the floor, and it was brand new. This is the second time I've ever used it. And she took it.
Dad.
She took it and she had it with all her little toys, all her little cars and trucks and dolls.
Oh yeah.
And I went in there and I go, Sophie, did you take my microphone? She goes, and I go, I'm going to be way madder at you if you lie to me than if you just tell me
the toy's done it. The doll done it.
She said, okay, I did it. I knocked it off on by accident. And then I wanted to play with it. And then my SM7B Molly, when she was a kid, she took a bite out of this. That was pretty easy. That was a pretty easy fix. Just get some new foam. She also, my Yamaha monitor, she thought it was a button.
Give me a minute.
It's a $500 speaker. They're just like,
kids, yeah, I've done a few destructive things in my day.
My subwoofer down here, I don't know if you can see it. You probably can't. It's too dark. But that hole right in the subwoofer, they would put their balls in there. They thought it was a hole that you put your balls in. That sounds inappropriate to say, talking about children.
Curiosity.
Anyway. Oh, boy. Yeah, we're getting lols out of People Unite. That's good. A grandmother of 5, we're making her laugh. So it's family friendly and funny. That's what we want. But,
yeah.
Okay, I'm going to regret this in the morning at this rate because it takes me like 2 or 3 hours to not be wound up after these. That's why it's hard to do these at night because I cannot. It's like doing stand-up or something. I can't go to sleep for a while after this. I'm wired. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I can understand that.
Yeah.
I used to be that way when I traveled around speaking of that.
You listen to it back and it's just gets you wired up again and then
be wound up for,
Yeah. There is a way. Oh, you got to upgrade to do that. There's a way to put the chat
joke about them. I said all evangelists, sleep till noon. I said, no, they don't. I got up at 2:30 this afternoon.
That's right. Noon, you early risers. I get that from you. My natural rhythm's like 3 a.m. to like noon. Maybe a little afternoon. Anyway, enough. I do the working world. I'm a school teacher. I wake up 9 months a year at 6:30 a.m., maybe earlier. And then as soon as summer starts, I sleep till noon immediately again. I am a perpetual teenager. There is no the routine. My natural rhythm is not with the rest of society. You can probably relate to that, right?
Yeah.
If I organized the world, 8 a.m. would be noon. And, things would start to close about maybe about 9 p.m. That'd be the working day.
Yeah.
I fit it in. My wife helps me out a lot.
People, Lord,
we'll kind of tag team.
This is oh my goodness, friends and neighbors. This is a English teacher, and he said I fit it in.
Yeah. Yeah.
I fitted.
Yeah, I'm off for the summer. People Unite, and I work at Walmart in the summer. I've been, but I didn't get many hours in early June. I did DoorDash for a while, but you can't really make money doing DoorDash.
You got a cool job though, because even years later, you got the students are watching.
Yeah, I had one in here. It's kind of fun.
Yeah,
there's about 5 kids that.
Let's see what Mr. McConnell's up
to. Sometimes they'll be in the chat. It's kind of fun. They'll give me shout outs in the chat. It's funny, before you do it, you always think like, oh, I can't be a communist, or I can't say what I actually think on the internet. Like, no one cares. The only people that watch are the people that like you anyway.
Right.
And if they did care, like, what are you going to do about it? First Amendment. I got tenure. Why don't you yell at the board? They'll laugh at you.
Yeah. Yeah. Most of the nonsense we got coming out today. Don't say it, Gary.
I sure hope so. People Unite. There's always a few that hate me, but I think most
I'm just a rebel.
You are a rebel, Dad. I learned it from you.
Yeah, I just don't.
What's that Mark Twain quote? When I was 18.
I know that upsets some people. Most of the nonsense comes from New England. Oh, God, bunch of Yankees. My God, give me a break. So, anyway.
You remember this one?
What's that?
Here. When I was a boy of 14, my father was so ignorant I could hardly stand to have the old man around. But when I got to be 21, I was astonished at how much he had learned in 7 years. Mark Twain.
Yeah.
Well, that's the way to go out, Dad. The older I get, the more I'm like,
you don't have to figure out what's going on. You're too dang old to do anything about it.
I think the way I figured out I'm most like you is I'll just be like, it'll be a totally quiet room and I'll be completely lost in my mind, and I'll be having an argument with someone that I knew 8 years ago. And then just out of nowhere, I'll be like, damn it. And then I'm like, I sound exactly like my dad. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Be like, who you talking to in there?
I know. I always wondered why you were cursing upstairs when no one was around, and now I do it. And I'm like, oh,
I'm talking to. You're talking to yourself? No. No. I'm answering myself. You know, I read that one time. The psychologist said, if you answer yourself, then there's nothing wrong with you. I said, well, I do that too.
well, you know, if you talk to yourself, I heard Tim Dillon say that. Even if I do get schizophrenia, my job is talking to myself, so it'll just help my career.
Yeah. You know, it's kind of like being your own therapist.
Yeah, why not? Who's to say you don't have it figured out and everyone else is hallucinating? That's what I think. But, anyway, thanks for hanging out with us, People Unite. Thanks for hanging out, Louisa. What was it? Django. What was that guy's name? Django, American Django. Thank you guys for hanging out. And what's People Unite? The crazy people are the ones who know they are crazy. Amen. Who don't know they're yes. No, I got you.
That's true.
Self-aware.
Yeah.
Yeah. The ones that say you're crazy, you're probably all right.
Yeah.
Anyway, Pops, what's your last thought there?
Oh.
Thank you for stopping by.
Well, I didn't plan on. I just happened to, you know, I watch something and I go back to history, so it'll reset and it'll show me what's popping up new on my subscribers. And I happened to see that you were live, and I said, oh, well, I didn't plan on getting on. I just wanted to say hello, you know.
Yeah, that's all right.
No, I was watching.
Well, I love you, Dad. We got 7 people. Dad. God's number. What'd you say?
Do what?
We got 7 people watching. God's number. That's good luck.
Yeah. I said, well, I see the subject he's on, but I got to say hello to my son. That's why I said, LOL, hello, son.
That's the best way to go out. Well, I love you, Dad. You're my favorite boomer.
Okay. Well, yeah. Don't throw all of us on the same age in the same bracket.
We'll spare you. I'll make sure you.
That's like when old people say, well, all that generation. No, not all of them. Now let's be, you know, let's say something. It's all inclusive.
It is, and I think, you know, I talk about that sometimes. They use black and white to divide people, or liberal and conservative. Well, I'm also buying into it a little bit. You know, generations, millennial, boomer. It's really rich and poor. That's the only two.
But little stuff like that upset me because I know you're lying.
About
you know, and you don't even know you're doing. It's kind of like okay, you know, I used to have my truck and I used to have big tires, and you see these advertisements said, you know, we sell any tire your vehicle needs. And I'm thinking, no, you don't. So quit lying. There's some things you can't get or won't get. So shut up. That's like advertisers. You know, we got it. No, you don't.
You got to go in there and straighten them out.
You gotta be technical. If you want to get technical about it, no, you don't.
I love you, Dad. You're the best.
I love you too. Thank God we love each other.
Amen. I'll make sure you don't go to the boomer concentration camp. I'll get you a get out of jail free pass.
Boomer concentration camp. Yeah. Oh well.
And you saved me in the fascist uprising.
It's kind of like you said one night. You know, I worry about, you know, there's no black SUV sitting out there watching my apartment. I'll tell you something. You know what?
They can just tune into the stream.
I really, you know, it's kind of like you said one night. You know, you ain't big enough to even be on the list.
David Smith told me once. I wish we could get Dave on here if we could get his phone to work. But David Smith told me once. He said, "You know, sometimes the CIA agents watching you, they'll help you out." He said sometimes they take a liking to you, like Mr. Wonderful,
They'd be pretty bored.
and they'll be like, I'm just making sure you don't, blow up the post office or something. But I kind of like your content. It's pretty good. It's fun. You're fun to watch. I've taken a liking to you, Tyler, and I'll help you out here and there. Make sure the bad guys don't get you. I'll pull. I'm like a guardian, like a guardian angel at the CIA.
Take some advice from an old guy. The best thing you can do in today's society is be a gray man, if you know what that is.
The gray man. What is that?
Be the gray man. Just kind of float under the radar. Okay. No one really knows what you think. Nobody. That's like, that's like the other day, Liz, I seen she's all the time got to have a bumper sticker or something. These people, the best thing, I don't want no stickers, nothing on my car, because that way you have no idea who's driving that car, what they think or they believe. That way,
yeah,
they have no idea.
See, I've broken that. I have a sticker that says "I love outside," and now people know that I like being outside. And
well, that's different. But when you make mistakes or something, sometimes the best way to keep
offending the indoor people. The indoor people are going to be like, that guy thinks he knows something.
Just kind of
about outside.
It means kind of like mixing it as a society, so you actually don't stand out. You just blend in with the crowd.
Do you think the CIA took down Nixon?
Well, they didn't do him no favors, that's for sure.
I heard Nixon told JFK, he started telling the CIA to leave me alone or I'm going to tell people who killed JFK. And they were like, okay, we'll take you out.
Nixon wasn't that bad. I tell you what, he even knew what they were doing. He's a choir boy compared to some of these yahoos today.
Grandpa is 91, and he says Richard Nixon is the best president of his lifetime. That's kind of interesting. That they took him out. Kind of makes sense.
Well, I can honestly say this. We had a good economy under Nixon.
Yeah.
And he did pull us out of the Vietnam War.
Man, I wish I could have bought gold then. Gold went from like $30 to like 900. People Unite said my dad said the same thing. It makes sense. The liberal media acts like he's Satan himself.
No, he's not. He's a choir boy compared to some of the things these politicians do today.
Yeah, I mean, we got Lindsey Graham. He's a good one, but other than him,
oh my God,
he's the worst. How in the world?
You had to bring him up as a parting note.
How in the world does a Republican not just run against him and just point at him and be like, look at this limp-wristed guy? How in the world are you winning in South Carolina? We all know what you are. I mean, not that I have anything against it, but come on, you're the Republican Party. My goodness. He must be serving the right people.
I mean, I agree with some politics, but the thing about it is he is such a warmonger. He just let them off. He was the one that said, you know what? Well, we need to keep this war with Russia going. Well, Ukraine may not win. Oh, it don't make no difference. The more Russians we kill, the more we won't have to deal with later. And I'm thinking, what is wrong with you? There's something wrong. Stop it. Get some help.
I saw a Nick Mullen quote, and it was Lindsey Graham tweeting from the year 2041. And he's being kept alive with like the blood of infant children. And he says, we all knew the war in Iran was going to be a failure. We all knew it. But the war in Qatar is going to be a great success.
Back in the day, now see, I never hear this anymore, but Nixon, everybody back in the day, they had a nickname for him. Yeah. You know what it was?
No.
They called him Tricky Dick.
Tricky Dick Nixon. Yeah, Hunter S. Thompson didn't like Nixon. I don't know. He might like him today. I don't know if he's looking back, but he sure didn't at the time.
Yeah.
Old McGovern. Do you remember McGovern?
Sometimes history rewrites. Sometimes what we think about how somebody is thought of today with time and it can change.
It sure can change. It sure can.
You know, you may think, oh, well, they're going to go down history as a, and then over time they may be, you know, all these politicians have
Alex Jones was considered crazy 10 years ago, and now he's like a prophet.
right have pulled some crooked under the table deals. You know.
Oh, sure. Well,
even Lincoln did. Even Lincoln pulled some under the table deals. That's for people who don't know their history. But the thing about it is,
yeah, he didn't
here's
listen
what
to
you
the
got to
Supreme Court.
realize.
Oh crap! Have I had these on the whole time? Crap! I've had my monitor on the whole time. I didn't know.
To the victor goes the spoils in the writing of history.
I gotta make a checklist where I turn off the monitor. I had feedback from the monitor that whole show.
Oh Lord, here we go.
Live and learn. Live and learn.
What's with the glasses?
These are supposed to help you sleep better. They block out the blue light.
Yeah, but okay. At least they ain't sunglasses. You know what I said?
I've worn them like 3 times.
I have come to learn, you know, if the shoe fits where it's not always true, but it seems like so many times, you know, I said, I hate people who do their part and wear sunglasses. Take them off. Yeah. I want to see your eyeballs. I don't trust a man wearing sunglasses.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, hey,
it's kind of like sitting down. I'm not going to sit down and play poker with a man wearing sunglasses. What are you trying to hide?
I'm not trying to hide nothing. I tell you what.
No, not you, but I'm just saying.
I do need to go to sleep, though. I'll tell you that.
Them ain't really sunglasses. You can see through them.
Yeah, you can see through these.
You can see your eyeballs. Anyway.
Okay, well, I'm going to listen to this back. Hopefully it doesn't sound too bad. God, I hate that I
thought you were going to bed. Now you
I had my monitors on. Well, as I fall asleep, I'll listen to it, you know. I just want to listen to a part of it and see if it feeds back horribly. Hopefully not. This mic should help because it's so dynamic, but
well, you don't hear I don't hear no feedback.
Okay, good. So. Good. Maybe it was better than I think, but it'd still be better than having that up. I can't really hear it. Now I can hear it, but it wasn't all the way up, so should be okay. Anyway, it sounded fine. Said People Unite. You're the best, People Unite. Thanks for hanging out with us. We missed Mr. Wonderful tonight.Maybe he'll come around another time, but to the 6 people watching, we love y'all. You're the OGs, the true blue believers, and Dad,
Mr.
I love you,
Wonderful.
and
Mr. Wonderful
again in the future.
It couldn't come. He's busy. He's stuck out on a covert operation. He's
probably he's probably surveilling somebody else tonight. They've laid off my detail, so
yeah, he's probably
People Unite.
He's probably secret got some pages on us or something.
Yeah, he's probably just cleaning up the files a little bit. I get that.
Cleaning up the files.
Yeah. All right, Dad, I love you. We'll do this again here soon. All right, good night, my friend. All right, bye-bye.